Welcome back to NASM CPT exam prep. This is Chapter 9 of 20, still in exercise technique and training instruction. Today's lesson is core training concepts. We'll cover what the core actually means, the local and global stabilization systems, the draw-in maneuver, and the core training continuum. Let's get into it. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to do 4 things. First, define the core as NASM does, the lumbo-pelvic-hip complex. Second, differentiate the local and global stabilization systems. Third, explain the draw-in maneuver and when it's used. And fourth, map the core training continuum onto the OPT model. Let's build these one at a time. Let's start with a question. What does core mean to you? If you pictured visible ab muscles, that's not quite how NASM defines it. NASM defines the core as the lumbo-pelvic-hip complex, or LPHC. This is the same region flagged by the kinetic chain checkpoints you already covered back in Lesson 6. The core includes every muscle that attaches to, surrounds, or stabilizes the spine and pelvis, all working together to control movement. And here's the bigger idea. The core is a force transfer hub. It transfers force between the upper and lower body during almost every real-world movement, not just dedicated ab exercises. This reframe is really the spine of the whole lesson. Everything that follows makes more sense once core means LPHC, not six-pack. There are 2 systems here, doing one job. The local stabilization system, deep muscles, transverse abdominis, multifidus, internal oblique, pelvic floor, diaphragm. There, Bob? Fine spinal segment control. The global stabilization system. Larger, more superficial muscles, rectus abdominis, external oblique, erector spinae. Their job, producing movement and transferring force. Say those 2 lists out loud a couple of times. This is one of the most exam-relevant distinctions in the whole lesson. Questions will frequently ask you to classify a specific muscle as local or global. Here's an important closing point. Both systems must work together. A client with strong, visible global muscles, but a weak local system, can still have poor spinal control. Strength alone doesn't guarantee stability. Here's a simple, powerful cue, the draw-in maneuver. It activates the local stabilization system, particularly the transverse abdominis. The cue itself, gently drawing the navel in toward the spine, without holding the breath, and without over-tensing the larger, visible abdominal muscles. Here's what makes this cue so useful. It's used constantly, well beyond dedicated core exercises. It's part of bracing for a squat or a deadlift, too. One clarification worth repeating. This is not a hard brace, and it's not a breath hold. It's a gentle activation. Let's talk progression. Phase 1, stabilization. Core stabilization exercises. Plank variations, slow cable or tubing rotations, floor bridges. Phases 2 through 4, strength. Core strength exercises. Cable chop or lift patterns, ball crunches, back extensions. Phase 5, power. Core power or reactive exercises. Rotational medicine ball throws, front oblique throws. Here's a pattern worth noticing. Stabilization first, strength next, power last. You've actually seen this exact 3-tier logic once before already, with flexibility back in Lesson 7. And you'll see it again, twice more, in Lesson 10 for balance and Lesson 11 for plyometric training. By the time you reach those lessons, you should start anticipating this table before it's even shown to you. Let's check your understanding. Question: which muscle is part of the local stabilization system? Take a second and think it through. The correct answer is transverse abdominis. Here's why. The transverse abdominis is a deep local system muscle responsible for fine spinal stabilization. One more question. A rotational medicine ball throw belongs to which core training tier? Pause and think back to the continuum. The correct answer is core power, or reactive, phase 5. Here's why. Rotational medicine ball throws are core power, reactive exercises, programmed in phase 5 once a stabilization and strength foundation already exists. Let's bring it all together. The core is the lumbo-pelvic-hip complex, not just visible ab muscles. The local system, transverse abdominis, multifidus, internal oblique, pelvic floor, diaphragm, controls fine spinal stability. The global system, rectus abdominis, external oblique, erector spinae, produces movement and transfers force. The draw-in maneuver activates the transverse abdominis, and it's used well beyond dedicated core exercises. And core training progresses through 3 tiers: stabilization in phase 1, strength in phases 2 through 4, and power in phase 5. Keep that continuum pattern in mind. You'll see it repeat in each of the next 2 lessons. Great work getting through Lesson 9. Next up is Lesson 10, Balance Training Concepts. We'll cover the balance training continuum and its progression across the OPT model. See you there!